What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new video. This is a news video here today. I am going to be doing these on the channel a lot more. I really enjoy doing them. It helps me find about the latest news as well. Now, make sure you go down and press that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and like this video. It really does help me out. Excuse me, I had a hiccup there. So, today we're going to be starting off with some Series X/S information. As you guys know, the Series X is my favorite system of all time. I love it. It's so powerful. It just looks phenomenal on my 4K TV and I love it. So, Microsoft news to start off with, and we have a little bit of Nintendo Switch Pro news at the end of this video as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, Xbox Series X/S celebrates Microsoft's most successful launch. So let's read this. During a recent quarterly earnings call, Microsoft confirms that the Xbox Series X/S is the most successful console launch in company history. This is fantastic news. Microsoft have really been doing so well this last few years, to be honest, since the launch of the One X, to really market things and really grow their audience. As you know, they're putting so much money into buying these new companies like Bethesda, which are really going to help sell systems, guys. It's so key, is having these big games, hence why Sony always does so well. During the same earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, sorry if I butchered that, but also spoke to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live's success in the recent quarter. Microsoft is still struggling to keep up with the demand for Xbox Series X/S, and considering how successful it is, that may continue for a while. So guys, we know that Sony PS5s are probably going to sell more. Sony have such a big following. I already think it will change going into the next generation after this one, with all the exclusives that Microsoft have bought. But right now, Sony is definitely winning in terms of console sales and performing better there, but we don't actually know by how much, because every single console that both Sony and Microsoft manufacture just sell out instantly. They are flying off the shelves. There's no kind of chance to actually see the potential of how many sales each month these are going to get until they're sitting in stores and there's you could just walk into any shop and buy one, so we won't know till then. Anyway, the launch of the Xbox Series X and S was the most successful in our history, with the most devices ever sold in a launch month, said Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. She said during the recent quarterly earnings call, "We are gaining console share as gamers recognize the value of our broader ecosystem, with an influx of gamers joining the Xbox ecosystem with the release of Xbox Series X/S. It's no wonder why the company causes such a stir with Xbox Live Gold pricing controversy." I honestly think that was almost a bit of a test there to see the loyalty of their fans. I don't know, it was a bit odd. Anyway, while Microsoft is celebrating the successful launch of the Series X and S, Satya Nadella also confirmed that the company surpassed $5 billion in gaming revenue for the first time ever during the same quarter, with $2 billion coming from third-party game sales. Game sales hit new heights in 2020, and this trend will likely continue throughout 2021. So it is a massive milestone for Microsoft. They are definitely building up the hype for their systems by far. Like, seriously, they are catching up with Sony drastically, and the amount of acquisitions they're buying Bethesda. They've got all exclusivity to Bethesda if they want it. I do personally think they will make it exclusive to Xbox, all the Bethesda games. I feel like Starfield won't be, because that's already been in the pipeline for a while, but I feel like games like Elder Scrolls and the next Fallout games, whenever they come, will be exclusive to Xbox, and if they're not going to be, then it will be a timed exclusive by probably a decent amount of time, like a year, maybe get it a year late on PS5, and then on top of that, it's going to be running far worse. It will be anyway, because the Series X is more powerful, that is a fact, and yes, we've had some games running better on PS5. This is because they're previous gen games. They do not take full use of the architecture inside Series X, and yes, they don't either on PS5, but the architecture in Series X is more powerful. It's basic maths, and it's going to surpass the PS5. That is a fact. There's no argument's sake there. Doesn't matter about optimization at this point. The Series X will be superior later on. But on to some next news, some bad news, guys. For those of you who haven't been able to get your Series X yet, it's said that Xbox Series X will be in short supply until at least June, Microsoft admits. So demand for Xbox's latest Xbox Series X console is high, but supply isn't likely to keep up until at least through June now. In an interview, the New York Times, Microsoft's head of investor relations, Mike Spencer, revealed supply of its new Xbox console will be constrained at least through till June. Microsoft has warned that the Xbox Series X would be in short supply until at least April or beyond. and it's now clear the wait for stock is going to continue for longer. The difficult supply situation does mean that Xbox sold every Xbox in unit it had last quarter. During a quarter, it hit 5 billion in gaming revenue for the first time ever, as we know. It's been incredibly difficult to buy a Series X and PS5, or even the latest AMD and Nvidia GPUs in recent months. So that's the same on PC with the latest Nvidia GPUs, is what it's saying there. These shortages look to set to continue through most of 2021. The AMD CEO Lisa Su warning there might not be capacity until the second half of the year, because you've got to remember AMD is struggling to keep up with demand of these new consoles as well. They're both running AMD chips, and it's really causing strain on their suppliers. The industry does need to increase the overall capacity levels, said Su on an earnings call last week, and so we do see some tightness through the first half of the year, but there's added capacity in the second half. AMD saw supply constraints in the PC market, particularly the low end, and in gaming towards the end of 2020. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit tough for you guys to get your hands on any system anytime soon. You're looking like June that you may start seeing some pop up in stores, but I even think then it's going to be a struggle, because you've got to compete with all these scalpers who really are snagging them off the shelves at every opportunity, plus other people who actually want the system, the people that we want to have owning the system, because the scalpers aren't good for these companies, because at the end of the day they're not buying software. So anyway, on to some Nintendo news. It is bad news, unfortunately, about the Switch Pro. So Nintendo have yet again come out and said no, they're not working on a Switch Pro. Doesn't always mean it's the truth, but I kind of feel, and I'm going to give my opinion after reading this article, because I personally do not feel like the Switch Pro is coming that soon. I feel like at the earliest and the end of this year, and I don't think that either. Anyway, bad news. Switch Pro, or Super Switch believers. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has confirmed there are no plans to announce a Nintendo Switch model anytime soon, and it could be because of the success of the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo has revealed its latest quarterly earnings, operating a profit of 2.2 billion thanks to the surge in its sales of Nintendo Switch consoles and certain Animal Crossing New Horizons game during the COVID-19 lockdown, as reported by Bloomberg. The Switch saw a 7% increase in sales, selling 11.6 million units over the holiday period, and Furukawa believes these sales will continue. With this in mind, it makes sense that there are no plans for a Switch Pro announcement. However, there's still room for a launch later this year. Now, I'm going to talk about my opinions for a second. Usually, if you look at the track history for Nintendo, I do know it well, they do not release a new model straight after they have already released special editions. Now we have a Mario Special Edition Switch coming out this month in February. We have a Dragon Quest Special Edition Switch coming out next month in March. They do not normally release a Switch Pro until a good 6+ months after those special editions, because they don't want to make people feel bad. At the end of the day, Nintendo don't want to hurt their customer base by doing something like that and pissing people off. It would not be good for them. So they won't do that kind of thing. They just won't, okay? Now, in terms of other reasons I believe it won't be coming, is because the sales are saying it, right? The sales really are speaking words. Like, they're 2.2 billion. They've done 11.6 million units. They are not going to want to stop this hype. There's no point. And also, on top of this, loads and loads of people are out there right now trying to grab a PS5 and a Series X. They've saved up all their hard-earned cash, and they are waiting to spend it on the Series X and PS5, or PS5, or the other way around, whatever it is, before Sony fanboys start getting angry. So just I don't think they're going to want to compete right now. I think they need to wait until the hype of the PS5 and Series X dies down. And yes, that's going to be a while. I think next year will be less sort of hype around those two consoles, as they would have been out for over a year at that point. But right now is just not a time to release a new handheld. You're gonna have it putting up comparisons against these two consoles. You're gonna have it playing Hitman, the streamed version, to your Switch, because it still won't be powerful enough, guys, to run these games native on the system. It won't be, and anyone who believes that is just stupid. You're not going to be able to have any of that stuff. So in the end of the day, it's going to have to stream a lot of games still. So you're going to see these comparisons of these streamed Hitman games. Control. Control we've got streamed on Switch in the UK here. I tried it out. It runs really well for a streaming game, but it's like £30. I can get the special edition on PS5 or Series X with ray tracing in 4K native, and it's just like on Switch you're having this worse than 1080p, not even HD, and it's just like you're gonna see those comparisons. So they need to let it die down a little bit so people can think, I've had my fun with my Series X and PS5 for a good couple of years. I actually kind of think it's now time for me to get back on my Switch, enjoy that system again, and get some more life out of it. And I think that's what will happen. They'll release it a little bit after the hype's died down. Let's just wait. Nintendo needs to wait because they're not trying to compete with these systems. I mean, they're the same. They're trying to compete, but they're not going to compete in terms of power and specs. The point of this Switch is to be able to take it on the go. And people right now, the hype is around sitting in front of your 4K TV. 8K TVs are coming out. They can support 8K. The Series X even has a 6K 60 FPS game running right now. It's Ori, and it can actually run 6K 60 frames per second or 4K 120. So it's very likely we may actually get an 8K title on Series X at some point in the future. Maybe 8K 30, but still it's an 8K title. But the point is, there is a 6K title running on Series X right now, and the hype is just too far around those consoles. But anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Please do leave a like, please do subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.